Strategy Advisor to Israeli Startups, Wendy Singer.
AIPAC. The October 7th war had many pieces, many stories to it. One of them was living with missile fire, directed at all of our cities. When my countrymen and women scurried into safe rooms again and again during the last 2 years, we knew that Israel's multi-layered defense systems were literally keeping us safe. The other side of that story is that Israeli technology has become an indispensable asset for the United States. What many people don't realize is that the DNA of the U.S. Israel defense relationship holds much more than the technologies themselves. Israeli companies actually support hundreds of thousands of jobs across the United States. And that innovation continues. Just recently, the IDF made a rather dramatic announcement. A new layer in Israel's missile defense shield is coming online. The Iron Beam is the world's first high-energy laser system, and it represents a breakthrough in the future of missile defense. Joining us today is Gidon Vice, the Vice President for International Business Development at Rafael Advanced Systems, the very company behind Iron Dome and many of the world's most groundbreaking military technologies. Friends, please join me in welcoming Gidon Weiss. Great to have you. So, Gidon, you have a really interesting personal story that I know informs what you bring to this work. Can you share it with us briefly?
Certainly. Well, first, it's a pleasure being here with you and the AIPAC crowd. I was born on Kibbutz Ein HaShofet, which is in the vicinity of Haifa. I'm the youngest of 3 sons of 2 Holocaust survivors, and I have 4 sons of my own now. They're 27 to 17. The youngest one is still in high school. The older ones all served for their countries. The second one was an officer in artillery. The third was a special operations. He was scrambled on the 7th of October to fight in Kibbutz Be'eri. He took a bullet, and it luckily didn't penetrate his body. He was wounded. He continued to fight with everyone there. I had become a pilot, an F-15 pilot in the Israeli Air Force, flying for 28 years while working for Rafael as a reservist. And having that privilege, looking back at my parents and thinking about how they survived the Holocaust. My mother survived the Holocaust working with 2 of her sisters in a German company that produced explosives to the Third Reich. Now that very company today is owned by my company, Rafael. And I have been a member of the board of directors for the last 5 years on that company. So great friendships, great business, but what a circle. So think about how my family went through all of that to where we are today, being able to protect the only Jewish state.
Thank you. I mean, we are 2 kids of Holocaust survivors standing here on the AIPAC stage. Okay, before we dive into Iron Beam, there are 2 other technologies we're going to take a look at. And one of them is a defense system for the Apache helicopter. So tell us why the Apache and what problem was it trying to solve?
So the Apache helicopter, which is manufactured here by Boeing and is flown by the U.S. Army Aviation, is probably the best attack helicopter in the world. We have been using it in Israel for many years, and there are many other allies around the world who are using it. But that helicopter has one shortfall, and that is the limited range of its current missile system. So in Israel, we have developed this new missile system called Spike Enlos. And that Spike Enlos missile system provides not a very short range, but this is now 35 miles, 50 kilometers. And we can shoot it behind a mountain ridge without even seeing the target. It operates without GPS, and it has the precision that is completely unrelated to the range.
So this means you can actually reduce civilian casualties on the ground and even abort
Absolutely.
a mission?
The precision and the control that we have over this missile when it's flying towards the target provides that absolute precision. And in the last moment, if you, like until 2 seconds before it hits the target, you can actually abort the mission if you realize this is something that you don't want to hit.
For crowded, dense urban warfare, this is a serious breakthrough.
That's exactly what we need
Yeah.
in this kind of warfare, yes.
So tell us about how it's used by the military, by the U.S. military, and where is it manufactured?
Well, so introducing this to the United States, we had partnered with Lockheed Martin. That was a great strategic move that had said, well, Rafael is going to be a secondary player. Lockheed Martin now is the prime contractor. But the fact is that this missile system is now integrated already after it's been integrated in Israel. Now it's integrated on the Apache helicopters in the United States and deployed into the squadrons that are operating in Europe. So that's a great change of capability.
Right.
But more importantly, with a partnership with Lockheed Martin, we are now getting started to manufacture it in Troy, Alabama.
There must be some people here from Alabama.
The fact that we can transfer our technologies to the United States on this missile system means that the U.S. can now transfer this and start exporting this outside of the U.S.
Fabulous. So it's bigger than just an Alabama story.
Oh, it is.
Rafael actually has manufacturing that creates thousands of jobs across the U.S. Please tell us more.
So it's not just about Rafael. I think all of the Israeli main defense companies have this kind of strategy that is to Americanize what we do. It's not just about the selling the missile or the other system that, is valuable for the U.S. defense, but it's about transferring the technology and Americanizing that in the United States. And in that action, we're doing two main things. One is to provide the autonomy, the ability to own the system by the United States. And secondly, it creates thousands of jobs.
Right.
So think
The
about all of the
autonomy part is a big issue for the Congress, as you know.
Yes. And so one of the things that you can see as a trend in the last 5-6 years, we have created 6 additional companies in the United States that we own. And that allows us to transfer our intellectual property to the United States so it becomes American and not only manufacture it here, but we can continue to engineer it here in the United States.
Right. Very nice. Now, Rafael is known as being the creator of both Iron Dome
Yes.
and David's Sling, both are which going down in this chapter in history as being pretty integral to Israel's defense.
Absolutely.
But now you're working on the next generation of missile interceptors, and tell us about that.
So you're looking at what's going on in the battlefield. Everybody knows about drones and UAVs and how that has affected us. By the way, just in the 12 days war with Iran, they sent more than 1,000 UAVs, the big ones, the very lethal ones, most of which were taken down by the Iron Dome.
Right.
Only one made it across the border, causing very little damage. So that was amazing capability.
Amazing.
But when you think about the intercontinental ballistic missiles, when you think about there is another ominous threat that's coming online. Russia has now introduced it in the Ukraine war, and that is the hypersonic missiles. Now, A hypersonic missile is not just a ballistic missile. This is something that flies kind of low level, 10 times the speed of sound. Think about a bus-size rocket that's very precise, traveling 5 miles a second. That's very hard to detect, let alone to intercept.
How does it work?
So the challenge of intercepting this is very big. And what we have created is a new kind of an interceptor that is now in the design. We call it Skysonic. We're looking for partners to do this. And this is one of the stories in the US. This is a kind of a story that this kind of interceptor will be able to be, on the one hand, very capable, but on the other, much cheaper to manufacture. And we're using a very interesting method to intercept. Think about the very ancient method of hunting of wolves against the bison. We call it a wolf pack tactic. It's not just one, but maybe 2 or 3 of them would be able to pan out and be able to catch that incoming hypersonic ballistic missile. At a low cost, that is a new capability.
So you're talking about a technology that creates a true multi-layered shield.
Yes.
Every altitude, every speed, that is a comprehensive solution.
But that connects to my previous point.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that just this last Thursday, we have inaugurated a new facility. Wait for it. There's a new partnership with Kratos. And in Indiana, just north of Crane,
Okay, anyone here from Indiana, delegates?
we have created a new facility, just breaking ground just last Thursday, into which we can transfer our propulsion technology, which is key for this capability in the defense, now becoming Americanized, and now this is going to become something that will be transfer of technology, but also creating thousands of additional jobs from Indiana and around the States.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, Gideon, now is the part that everyone's waiting for. Ian, could you roll out the iron beam?
Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, straight from Israel, we have rolled out this beam director of the Iron Beam laser, high energy laser system.
I'm going to
This
call
is
this.
it. This is the real deal. It's not the real thing. It's a model, but it's the real size.
I'm
And
going
you'll
to
see
call
some
this an
videos.
only at AIPAC moment. So, why was Iron Beam created? And again, what's the problem it was trying to solve?
So there are 2 main problems that the laser system, the Iron Beam, was created. And by the way, in order to get to this, we had prototypes and a lot of developments, evolving developments that we need to do. That's a nice peak to do. It's so big. Barely see you. The 2 main problems were, number 1, we know that even though the Iron Dome is very effective, it is still expensive. It's about $100,000 for one interceptor of the Iron Dome to go shoot something. And when you look at the battlefield, there are many UAVs and drones that are very cheap. And when you try to intercept them with this kind of interceptor, it's costly, but it's also dangerous. So a laser system can solve that problem by having that additional capability below the Iron Dome to shoot down drones and UAVs, and thus also saving on interceptors. So in a combination between Iron Dome and Iron Beam, the Iron Beam can save interceptors from the Iron Dome.
And just how does it work?
All right, so what we're seeing here is actually, imagine that there's a laser source from underneath. The laser source will come in here through a very interesting path, and this big aperture will shine the laser energy outboards towards the target. The principle of operation is actually to have a very high energy laser heat projected onto the target, which would cause one of 2 things, either to explode or to rip up a piece of a wing or a tail so it ceases to fly. By the way, all of this will be on the test for whoever wants to go onto Congress tomorrow, right? It's a must pass.
Okay. Okay. I mean, you make it sound simple,
Yeah.
but there must have been some challenges in designing the system.
Absolutely.
What about
So we
about
had
that.
to go through intense engineering and development to get to this. But just to simplify, to understand what it is, think about your oven at home. Not just one oven, but 30 of them, and cranking all of them up to full grill in less than 1 second and aiming all of that energy onto a coin-size spot on a wobbly target at 10 kilometers, 6 miles away. So the way to think about the three main issues is to think about focus. We need to focus the energy. We need to get rid of the atmospheric distortion. Think about looking at a very hot day on a target. Everything is blurry. We need to get rid of that blur. But also, those targets fly very fast.
Right.
And you need to keep that spot very, very stable on them. So we call it adaptive optics. That is the innovation that we were able to put into the system. The adaptive optics solve this problem in a miraculous way, and this enables us to get to this solution.
Okay, we don't really want to have to see it in action, but I think there are some people here that would like to see how theoretically it would be in action. You have a video clip.
Let's look at the video from
about.
this last fall. And this is a very short clip of the Israeli Ministry of Defense. This is how the system looks like. Two of these turrets on a big container with a lot of energy source in them. And what we'll be able to see is actual footage from the test. We'll see all of these rockets and mortars. This is real enemy fire that we were able to capture and use in the test. Drones and UAVs all take off and become targets in the test range. And you'll see this is a special camera that looks at the laser, and you'll see that this is a rocket coming in. You'll see the tip heating up and exploding. And when the UAVs go up, it just burns them. And in this case, it burns the tail, it burns the rocket, the engine, and they fall out of the sky.
Okay, so one of my many awe-inspiring moments of the 12-day war in June was just sitting there trying to imagine how all these pieces come together for this comprehensive defense shield. So where does Iron Beam fit into those layers?
So first to clarify, that's a great question because people don't really understand. It's very, very meaningful in terms of capability, but it will not, at least at this time, be able to shoot down a ballistic missile coming from Iran. It's too big. But what will do is it will be integrated, even though it can be standalone, it could be just on its own, but it is designed to be integrated into the Iron Dome and David Sling lower level to become a lower level below the David Sling and the Iron Dome. So like we see here in the video, they work together and save interceptors and provide the capability against drones and UAVs.
Okay, the cost. Tell us about the cost.
Well, the cost is probably the biggest revolution here. For the first time in history, harnessing light, harnessing laser, we have been able to turn the tables around on the cost. It used to be more expensive, always more expensive, to shoot down an interceptor against an incoming drone or a UAV or even a ballistic missile. But with this, it's mere cents. Once you have the system developed, the interception itself is mere cents. It's just the electricity. So that's the biggest thing.
So this means no of those urgent requests from Congress for more Iron Dome batteries and the like?
Well, we will still need a lot of interceptors, but we can go lower on the requests and still have what we need in the combination between the two.
Okay.
But thank you very much for all of your support. But Wendy, while on thank you, I think I need to give a serious shout out of thank you to the men and women on the U.S. Navy and U.S. Army air defenders who stood with us under fire, shoulder to shoulder, helping our air defenders defend Israel. Thank you very much.
Before we close out our conversation, Gideon and I want to take a moment to thank everyone in this room for all that you have done to help make these missile defense systems possible, for what you've done to defend the state of Israel. We have spent countless hours in our safe rooms these past 2 years, and we have done so knowing that Israel's missile defense systems were literally keeping us safe. And we also know that these are the same systems that each of you have spent countless hours lobbying to support. We know it takes meetings, phone calls, relentless emails, real work, and for that we are truly thankful. On a personal note, we don't know what the days ahead will hold. We do know that we are going to remain tenacious and resilient, that we're not alone, and that we will continue to pray for peace. Gidon, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.